On a recent sightings episode, we brought you information about the possible destruction of a Soviet space probe called Phobos by a UFO.
Phobos 2 was sending back pictures, as usual when suddenly the last picture from Phobos arrived. On that picture you could see Phobos, the Martian moon, and an oblong-shaped object. The object cast a passing shadow on Mars.
At the peak of the space race, in the late 1970s, the Viking probes successfully landed on Mars, capturing photos, data, and samples from the red planet. The mission was so successful that Soviet scientists wanted their own moment of glory. But instead of focusing on Mars itself, they turned their attention to its moon, Phobos, named after the Greek god of fear. After all, if NASA could land on Mars, landing on one of its moons should be a piece of cake, right?
If Martian life once existed and was widespread elsewhere on Mars, the chance that its dead remains exist also on Phobos is, in my opinion, relatively high. This is because numerous small asteroidal impacts on Mars eject Martian surface material, and the ejecta is relatively easily transferred to Phobos.
Well, it turns out Mars's largest moon was aptly named after the god of fear. Despite the barren, desolate landscape that seems inhospitable to life, something does exist there, and that something doesn't want to be disturbed.
In my opinion, of all the chances for finding life as we know it in the solar system, the surfaces of Mars and Phobos are our best bet. Phobos is a time capsule of ancient Mars.
Here are 20 of the strangest things spotted on Mars. Number 20. The face of Mars is a famous optical illusion discovered by the Viking 1 mission in 1976. It's located in the Cydonia region, where one particular rock formation appeared to resemble a human face, with features like eyes, a nose, and a mouth. Given the low resolution of the initial image, it's easy to see why people made that connection. However, NASA quickly dismissed the idea, explaining that it was simply an optical illusion caused by the interplay of light and shadow. Years later, as the resolution of Mars images improved, subsequent probes confirmed that the face-like features were nothing more than a rock shaped by natural formations. Number 19. Light on Mars. We know that Mars receives light from the sun, but in 2019, the Curiosity rover captured a photo of the planet's surface that appeared to show a bright object. This was intriguing because, with no electricity or reflective surfaces on Mars, it's unclear what could cause such a glow. Well, the answer was simple. Mars lacks a dense atmosphere to reflect certain sunlight, allowing cosmic rays to strike objects in just the right way, causing them to light up. Other rovers have also captured similar Martian lights. Additionally, there's something known as sunglint, where light scatters and creates an unusual shine. However, these lights are not signs of alien life. Instead, they're just phenomena we need to consider for future Mars missions, as cosmic rays can be harmful to astronauts. Number 18. The door. During its mission on Mars, the Curiosity rover snapped a picture that led many to believe it had uncovered something significant, specifically a door. The image, taken in May 2022, showed a small, rectangular opening in a rock formation within Gale Crater. It quickly went viral, with many speculating it could be a doorway carved into the Martian surface. The straight edges and shadowed interior sparked theories, ranging from an ancient Martian civilization to the entrance of a secret government base. However, there was a simpler explanation. It turned out to be a natural geological feature, formed by the fracturing of rocks. Mars, with its long history of seismic activity and extreme environmental conditions, has rocks that crack and break in ways that can sometimes appear to be man-made. In this case, the doorway is likely just a fracture in a large rock, with the illusion of a passage created by the play of light and perspective. The formation measures only about 30 centimeters tall and 40 centimeters wide, which is quite small. Number 17. A Martian dust devil. In 2023, while the Perseverance rover was conducting its usual research, it captured an image of a dust devil on Mars. A dust devil is similar to a tornado, but consists only of dust and loose materials, unlike the debris-filled tornadoes we have here on Earth. While this might seem ordinary, considering Mars's weather patterns, the surprising part was that this dust devil was much larger than anything seen on Earth. The image analysis showed it was roughly 5 times taller than the Empire State Building. To put this into perspective, The Empire State Building is about 400 meters tall, which means this dust devil was around 2,000 meters tall. For comparison, the average tornado on Earth can reach up to 1,500 meters, making this a massive twister on Mars. And since Mars has unique conditions, dust devils there could potentially be even larger in the future, posing a concern if we ever attempt to colonize the planet, as such natural disasters could cause significant problems. Number 16. A metallic meteorite. Mars, with its thin atmosphere, is a prime location for finding meteorites, unlike Earth, where meteorites often break apart during entry. One such meteorite was discovered by the Curiosity rover and dubbed Egg Rock because of its golf ball-like shape. This meteorite was made of iron and nickel, common materials in meteorites within our solar system. The Egg Rock likely came from larger asteroids that broke apart and landed on Mars. Studying it is important, as we can learn how long it's been on Mars and understand how erosion, wind, and other factors have affected it. This information could also be crucial for understanding how human-made objects might fare when they reach Mars. Number 15. The Martian Pyramids. Like on Earth, when viewed from a distance, certain features on Mars can look like something they are not. Over the years, many satellite images of Mars have sparked conspiracy theories, and one of the most notable came in the 1970s. During the Viking missions, an image was sent back showing a formation that resembled a pyramid. With 4 distinct lines that seemed to define its edges, it was easy to see why people thought that it might be a pyramid rising from the Martian surface. This image fueled many wild theories, including some that linked it to popular culture, like a Doctor Who episode. However, it was not a pyramid. Just like the supposed pyramids in Antarctica, this formation is actually a mesa, an elevated flat-topped landform that, when viewed from a specific angle, can appear to be pyramid-like. Perspective plays a crucial role here, and it's what caused the initial misinterpretation. So, despite the intriguing photo, these pyramids are just an optical illusion. Number 14. An ancient lake. Now here's an exciting discovery from early 2024 that could significantly shift our understanding of Mars. We've already discussed how it's been confirmed that water once existed on the red planet, and scientists at NASA have been working hard to pinpoint where these bodies of water were, so they can reconstruct what Mars was like in the past. Sure enough, in January 2024, the Perseverance rover uncovered the remnants of an ancient lake. This particular lake was located inside a crater, identified through sediments collected by the rover. With this finding, we now have a definite starting point to not only search for other water traces, but also for potential signs of life that may have thrived in this body of water millions of years ago. While we haven't found life on Mars yet, we're getting closer, even if it's just microbial life, which would still be a major breakthrough. The next step is to dig deeper beneath the Martian surface for more samples and see what else might be hiding. We're on the brink of a major discovery. Number 13. Martian blueberries. Now let's talk about something truly strange, but somewhat explainable. In 2004, NASA's Opportunity rover made a discovery that baffled scientists. It found small, iron-rich rocks that were blue, which led to them being called Martian blueberries. The mystery, though, lies in how these blue rocks formed and why they're so numerous. On Earth, rocks can take various shapes over time, but these rocks are rounded, a form that doesn't naturally occur in most environments. This round shape suggests that some force, like water, may have been involved in their formation. These blueberries are thought to be evidence that Mars once had abundant water, and that water played a role in shaping these rocks. NASA and other scientists are studying similar formations found in Utah and Mongolia to understand the formation process better. This is exciting because it may help us map out where water once existed on Mars. The discovery of water on Mars was a game changer, and now we're piecing together how water influenced the planet's past. Number 12. The Tangled Object. In 2022, NASA's Perseverance rover captured a strange, string-like object on the Martian surface. While string may seem ordinary to us, on Mars, it shouldn't be there at all. The fact that it was tangled suggested it had been manipulated by something or someone. But how did it get there? The answer is simpler than what we might have hoped. It was the rover's fault. When Perseverance landed in 2021, it used a netting made from a durable fabric called Dacron to help land safely. In this landing process, the Dacron netting had shredded and scattered around the landing area. So that mysterious tangled object was just debris from the landing. This discovery is a reminder how even landing a rover on Mars comes with its own risks. Important info for any future missions. Number 11. The Rock. To clarify, this is a real rock discovered by the Perseverance rover in 2023, and it does indeed resemble a donut, which is why it's called the Donut Rock. The question everyone asks is, how did the rock get into that shape? You might assume, based on previous examples, that this was caused by erosion, but scientists have a different theory for this rock. They believe it could have been a meteorite that impacted the Martian surface, creating the donut shape. The surrounding fragments are thought to be pieces of the meteorite itself, as Mars is often struck by meteorites. Sometimes, these impacts cause rocks to break apart in some surprising ways. Number 10. Martian Morse Code. In 2016, the reconnaissance orbiter was sent to Mars to study a specific area, which led to the creation of another Martian mystery. The orbiter was tasked with photographing some unique dunes, but when the picture was taken, the shape of the dunes appeared so intricate that people thought they were seeing Morse code. It's understandable why people thought this, as the dots and dashes seem clear in the dune's shape. However, the reality is much simpler. The dunes were interrupted during their formation, so what we see is a pattern of dots from above, rather than the fully formed lines. Number 9. The Belly Pan. This is another example where people might look at it and immediately say, this is proof that something is going on in Mars, when in reality, it can be easily explained. If you look at this metal object, some might shout aliens without considering the larger context. The truth is, this is the belly pan of the Perseverance rover. It was originally attached to protect a sampling system used to collect and store materials from Mars. When it was time to examine the system, the belly pan was removed and left behind on the Martian surface. Number 8. Olympus Mons is not just any formation on Mars. It's the largest volcano in the entire solar system. To put it into perspective, Olympus Mons is taller than Mount Everest, and in terms of width, it's about the size of France. It's a massive formation, and scientists are particularly interested in it because it's one of the dozen similar volcanoes on Mars, all much larger than those on Earth. NASA is studying how these supervolcanoes formed, whether they're still active, and what could happen if one erupted. It raises an interesting question. Why are we so eager to live on Mars when such chaotic and potentially destructive forces are part of the landscape? Number 7. A thigh bone. In 2014, the Curiosity rover discovered something unusual on Mars that many referred to as a thigh bone. The shape of the object made it easy to understand why people thought that. Naturally, once the image was shared, speculation about aliens and the possibility that someone had been on Mars long before us surfaced. But the truth is simpler. The object was just a rock eroded into a shape that resembled something familiar to us. Still, it's a reminder that just because something looks like something else doesn't mean it's that thing. However, we've never sent a human to Mars to confirm it, have we? Number 6. Valles Marineris. For those who appreciate massive formations, the Valles Marineris is another spectacular site on Mars. Often called the Grand Canyon of Mars, this system of canyons spans over 4,000 kilometers and reaches depths of up to 10 kilometers at certain points, much larger than the Grand Canyon in the U.S. Like the volcanoes, NASA and other organizations are trying to understand how these immense canyons formed. Some believe it was caused by water, while others think volcanic activity might have played a role. Number 5. The Canals of Mars. The final mystery on our list takes us back to an older debate, the Canals of Mars. In 1877, an Italian astronomer claimed to observe channels on Mars through his telescope. When word spread, these channels were mistakenly translated as canals, which led people to believe that they were man-made structures built by an alien civilization. However, as technology improved and scientists revisited the so-called canals, they found no evidence of them. It turns out what was once thought to be a network of canals was simply an optical illusion created by the planet itself. Number 4. The South Pole Shapes. Now let's dive into another set of strange shapes spotted on Mars, this time from the Martian South Pole in 2020. Among the formations, you can spot what appears to be an angel, a devil, and a large heart, shapes that seem to appear out of nowhere, which is pretty unsettling. But there's a simple explanation. Since this is the South Pole, the shapes were likely formed from ice, along with special dust and craters in the region that helped create these patterns. One of these shapes, named Angel's Head, was probably formed after a meteor impact. It's a reminder of how, when the right conditions align, nature can create some truly unexpected shapes. Number 3. The Happy Face Crater. I'll admit, this one does look pretty strange and conveniently shaped, but it's just another case of seeing what we want to see. This is yet another face found by the Viking 1 orbiter in the 1970s. And yes, the crater's shapes do make it appear to be a happy face, which is how it got its name. However, if you zoom in on the crater, you'll see various outcroppings and shapes that contributed to the appearance of that face. But it's nothing more than that. Again, it's a case of seeing patterns. And had we not gotten that iconic picture from this particular angle, we may never have seen this face at all. Number 2. Mr. Peanut. As I mentioned earlier, when the right conditions align, anything can be spotted on Mars, including something that resembles Mr. Peanut. To be fair, this isn't an exact match to the iconic character, and the angel and heart shapes from earlier were much more convincing. But the idea is still there. It's striking that something similar can be found on Mars. This also highlights a tendency in human nature. We often look at something and think, hey, that looks like that. And then we share the image with others. When they see it, they agree. While this can be harmless, like seeing shapes in clouds or imagining Mr. Peanut, we need to be cautious. Otherwise, we might end up with something like the Face on Mars situation, where people start thinking there's more happening than there actually is. And number 1. Spikes. This one really isn't an illusion, but it's still something mysterious that we can't fully explain. In May 2022, the Curiosity rover once again captured images of strange rock formations in the Gale crater that appeared to be sprouting like spikes. Even the SETI Institute posted about it, noting how fascinating the rock looked. So what exactly are we looking at here? Are these spikes some unique Martian formations? Well, yes and no. While they're interesting, these aren't special rocks that only grow on Mars. Instead, it's believed that these spikes are remnants of a larger rock structure that has been gradually eroded over time. They may have been the harder, more durable parts of the rock that survived the erosion while the rest wore away. Either way, it's a striking sight. Now this wraps up our video on some of the strange things we've discovered on Mars. What do you think about these findings? Which one do you think is the strangest? Or maybe you have your own theories and believe it all might be the work of aliens. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you next time.